I feel like we all have that book on our shelves that we think we should have read, but we just haven't quite got to yet, and for me that is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Never read this one. I have watched the Leonardo DiCaprio film version. Honestly, I can remember very, very little. I think that the main character is called Jay Gatsby. I think there's a Daisy, there's a party. I know that there's a meme where Leonardo DiCaprio turns around and like cheerses his drink. I know that's a thing with fireworks, I think, maybe. That's as far as my knowledge goes. I am not going to be reading the blurb going into this. I'm going to go in knowing nothing. Not only do I want to read this because it's a classic and I've heard amazing things about it, but also it is my best friend's favourite book. Lauren from Fiction Tea, who has an amazing Instagram that I will leave linked down below if you haven't already checked her out, loves this book. She has over 50 editions by now, I think. I can't remember how many editions she has. I think it's somewhere around that region, and I've never read it and I feel like I should. So I'm going to be reading it for that reason, but also because I'm going to be giving her an edition she absolutely will not have for her birthday. And that is going to be this edition, but I'm going to be personalising this. I'm going to be annotating it, I'm going to be doodling and drawing in it, I'm going to be writing my thoughts as I go. I'm going to be completely customising this edition to give Lauren not only an edition she won't have had before, but also an experience whenever she next maybe wants to read the book of reading it alongside what my thoughts and feelings were as I was reading it. I feel like it's going to be fun. I'm interested to see how it goes. I'm excited to see how it goes. I have no idea what I want to do to this yet in terms of like annotations and little drawings and doodles, but I think that'll probably come further into the book as I go. But I'm obviously also going to be writing down my thoughts and feelings as I go as well. I ordered this one because it's the original classic cover for the book, but also happy surprise that it's the kind of paper that I feel like if I wanted to do any little illustrations on the front cover as well, it's going to like stay. It's like a bit more of a card kind of paper. So I'm very, very excited. Obviously, if you are not a fan of writing in books and things, you might not necessarily be a fan of what I'm going to do to this, but I'm going to be doing it with love and care and hopefully creating something that's just got like a really nice personal element to it as well. So that is my intention for this. I will be bringing you along with me as I dive into this book with my thoughts and feelings, and also just generally through the annotation process, because I've never done a video before that is specifically around annotating books. I don't annotate books a lot. I do enjoy it when I do it though, because I think it just makes you think immediately more critically about the books and what you're actually consuming and what you find more interesting and what you just want to talk about. So I'm quite looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun. I've been waiting to film this video to then obviously start reading it because I didn't want to begin the annotations before introducing the vlog. But I do want to do something with the cover. I'm not sure what. I kind of want to get a little white pen, and it says on the bottom with a new introduction there by Jasmine Ward on the bottom, and I kind of want to write underneath that and annotations by me. So I want to put that in there as well, but I don't know what else. I think it'll just, the ideas will come once I start reading it, but I am excited. I present to you my annotation supplies. I have got 2 pencil cases of annotation supplies. This one's got like post-it notes, sticky tabs. I don't know that I'll use any of the post-it notes or sticky tabs for this specifically, but we've got a couple of highlighters in here, some pens. These 2 are my favourites because 1, this one's a carrot, and 2, this one has a little bee on it. It's so cute. Got more mild liners here. I think I'll probably just go for a blue one for this because it matches the cover best. I think that's already in here. And then here I've got the rest of my pens. I've got a couple of nice fine linery ones here that are all like darker colours, which I feel like might fit the vibe of this quite well. I don't know how well they'll go on page though, because they are a bit thicker with the ink, but it'll be fine I think for like little detail-y bits. Just, yeah, general bits in there. I'm doing this so well, so professionally. up to page 66 in The Great Gatsby. So far there's been a lot of parties, a lot of food, a library. I quite like the library. Two main things that I am picking up on at the moment with this is, one, the women. I think that F. Scott Fitzgerald has done a really good job of representing the oppression that these women are facing at the hands of men having this kind of power over them, and how they're treated by those men and how they're seen by those men. And I think that that's captured really well in these pages, and quite a lot of the stuff towards the women has made me quite angry and made my eyes roll, and I think it's done in a really clever way of social commentary and just generally depicting them as needing this kind of release from the way that they seem to be trapped within their lives. So I think that's done really cleverly. And also the build-up of Gatsby is interesting, because I couldn't really remember from the film if he was someone we were meant to like or not. I actually kind of thought he wasn't. I don't know why I thought that, but it was in my head that he was going to be a dick, and he's not a dick at the moment. I mean, we've barely met him, but he doesn't seem to be a dick. There was a whole paragraph about his smile and how lovely his smile was and how rare it was to meet someone with a smile like that. So at the moment, I think he's meant to be likeable, which is then contrasting all the other characters that we're meeting that are at these parties, the very wealthy characters. There's certainly a critique on the wealthier characters and the way they spend their money and things. There's a whole conversation about somebody who's like just driving at night and totals their car, and they're like, oh well, I'm not really one for driving and things like that, and it's just like demonstrating how meaningless such an expensive item was to them and things. And I think there's a lot of conversations like that happening in this as well. I can definitely see why this is studied a lot. There's already quite a lot of interesting points that are coming out of it, but I'm interested to see how Gatsby's character develops a bit more into like contrast, I suppose, the people that we're meant to dislike that are at these parties. I don't know. I don't know. I'm interested to see how it goes. I finished The Great Gatsby. I have finished my annotations. Also, I did a little bit of detailing on the front and on the sides. I don't know where my brain sits with this one. Having annotated it, I feel like I definitely thought about it in a different way. Some of my annotations were talking about the characters and the plot development. Some of them were highlighting every time the word Twilight was written and writing hoa 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 next to it. But I feel like it definitely, reading to annotate definitely makes me read in a different way. But a lot of this book as well left me like, what? I was very confused at some points, because sometimes something happened and it didn't directly say what was happening. It kind of went about it in metaphorical ways and talking about it in like indirect ways. And then later on, when it was mentioned again more directly, I was like, oh, I didn't feel like I had the clarity on what the moment that was happening was. What I did really enjoy about this was the relationship between Daisy and Gatsby, and I won't go into spoilers about it, but I thought that the way that they spoke about each other was done in a really lovely way, and I really enjoyed reading about that side of it, and I would have loved to have been able to dive into that a little bit more. I was reading through a couple of forums of people discussing this book upon finishing it as well, because I genuinely don't know where my brain sits with it. And one of the really interesting themes that somebody picked up on is that this book really looks at like living in the moment and how so many of these characters are stuck in the past, and either stuck in their old lives or stuck in the way things used to be and not really keeping up with the changes of the world at a point when the world was going through a lot of changes. And I think there's some really interesting points being said about that through various different characters, this book is kind of saying, live in the moment. Your money cannot buy you happiness. And if you are too fixated on everything that's been in the past, you're going to forget to enjoy your life and see what your life actually is now. And I think that that's a really nice theme to take from it at the end as well. And it felt very sad finishing this book. It felt, I genuinely couldn't remember the ending of the film. I could not remember where it went, and now I want to rewatch the film for sure because that's just completely fallen out of my brain. But it felt really sad, and it felt like really inconclusive as well for some of the directions that it went in, and that left me just feeling like, oh, like I genuinely just felt like just nah at the end of it. Nah. That's how my summary of reactions. I've given this a 3 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed Daisy and Gatsby's interactions with each other. I enjoyed the relationship that they had as characters with each other. I enjoyed seeing these parties, and I thought it was an interesting look at the way that different people interacted in the parties, the way that we see the classes represented, and generally the approach towards money in this book is interesting as well. And I do think, yeah, thinking about it now as in terms of appreciating where you are in life and not constantly living in the past is a really interesting message coming out of this as well. One quick other additional point about Gatsby as well. The writing style, beautiful. I love the prose. The writing was just stunning. So that is my final thoughts. I'm going to package this up now and send it to Lauren. I hope she likes it. I really enjoy doing this, and I think knowing that I get to share the reading experience with Lauren is a really nice thing as well. So thank you so much for watching this vlog. I hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to check Lauren's Instagram out. I will leave it linked down below. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.